Hey, it's Chris and Russ here. We're going to do our first video after Oshkosh on progress of the ButcherBird 58%. So it is now September 13th, and we slowed down a little bit. We had to rest because there was a lot of work getting up to here, and there's a lot of detail work that we're doing now. And so what we want to talk about, what we have in this episode is Russ has created
Yeah, for every piece and part on the aircraft, we're going to have a plug so we can get a mold. And what we've been doing is dressing all of various points on the aircraft where a bulkhead or anything has to be bonded to. And so we've pulled this off the actual firewall with a 1/16 of an inch sheet wax between the part and this part to give us a nice bond line of a 1/16 of an inch all the way around. So this will actually get mounted up on a frame board. It'll get some flanges added to it, Duratec, buffed and polished before we make a mold. And then each one of the firewalls will always match. The same thing's true with the stub wing ribs,
right.
The stub ring tip ribs,
Right.
front and rear, and also the aft cockpit bulkhead, which we're going to show you in just a second.
Right. Yeah, we're going to show you. We're going to go show you the project out there, and we'll talk about it, what we're doing on it right now. We're up, and now we're out the project, and Russ is going to talk to us about what we're doing to create these parts.
Okay, so what we had to do was, there was no molds for these parts, for the leading edge rib here or the trailing rib here. So we had to build that with the core. If you kind of get down a little bit, you can see that the core is here. So the rib had to fit underneath the core. And in order to be able to create the part so that we could have a bond line, we actually use this sheet wax.
Okay.
We trim the sheet wax into strips and apply it on these type surfaces all the way around, which gives us a 1/16 of an inch gap between the part and the bond surface. So the bond line is essentially a 1/16 of an inch all the way around. Once we've done that, then we release that whole area with wax and lay it up. Once it's laid up, well, let me go back. After we do the sheet wax like this around the edges, anywhere that there is like a really sharp corner, we use this fillet wax. You can see here that it's actually a radius fillet. So it would go in like this all the way around to create a nice radius on the parts. So that would be in all the way around and help give us a nice radius. So basically, walking over here, Chris, these are the rough parts that we pulled out. They fit perfectly. They're about to be mounted on their wooden plates. They'll be elevated about another inch. They'll be swept with Bondo, cleaned up well, and then sprayed with Duratec, wet sanded and polished, and prepped for molding.
Okay.
Now let's take a look inside the cockpit. We've got the aft cockpit bulkhead. Hop up here. There you go, Chris. There you go.
There you go.
It's right here. As you can see, we use sheet wax in here too to create a distance between the skin and the actual part, so that we actually have a 1/16 of an inch bond line all the way around that layup. So once this was put in place, we used a laser measuring to measure from each side to the center spar to ensure that the location was true and accurate, and that the dimensions were what they needed to be. So this will be our aft cockpit bulkhead. This will come out on Monday. Once it comes out, then it'll be reinforced, cored, and be placed on plates like those other parts.
Okay, that's great. Okay, and then so we got that. We're going to have, of course, other bulkheads to go in. You've already talked about that. And then the firewall. Here's the firewall that we made the mold from.
Yeah, so you can see it was just carbon. So we smoothed it up. We released it. We put the sheet wax in here all the way around the edges to create that 1/16 of an inch bond line.
Yep.
And now every single bulkhead or firewall will fit every single kit perfectly. So the next thing is we're going to be cutting out this fuel tank area. We're going to come back about 4 inches to make the cut. because this is part of the structure for the firewall and engine mounts. So there'll actually be a fairly substantial carbon hoop in this area here that goes the entire circumference of the fuselage with carbon longerons running back. So the tank will cut 4 inches back here, and it'll follow this line here with a little joggle and back up this way and over.
Okay.
And then we will actually add the joggle to this part to accept this part.
Right, and then at that point we have our little where we had it for the mold.
Yeah,
that'll be redone to where it'll.
Yeah, this is going to be a little beefier.
Yeah.
All of this will be smooth so that it flows nicely.
Yeah.
We are going to do a little tweaking. Let me grab this real quick.
Okay. Canopy.
Yeah, this is the actual canopy that we cut off of this part as it came out of the mold. So it very much is exactly what that canopy is over there.
Yeah.
So we've discussed this, and in the war version of the aircraft, it's really tiny in there, very little headroom. With this one, we have a very cavernous cockpit area.
Right.
We're going to have more headroom, I believe, but we are going to be increasing this distance just slightly, just to give it a little bit more space between your headphones and the
And so how do you do that? Is that the sheet wax thing that you can kind of do to it, or?
Yeah, so we'll sheet wax from about here back, and kind of build it up the way we want it, and then from here forward we'll actually have to blend back down to this point because it interfaces with the frame.
Correct.
So this will be kind of bondoed up like that. I'll probably just run strips and run the bondo between the strips with a guide tool, and then I'll fair all that in.
Yeah.
So,
and the goal is not to make it a cartoon; it's to make it just very subtly, because any little bit we can gain out of this thing will make it much nicer for the pilot.
Absolutely.
All right, so there's where we are right now. We have anything else?
Well, okay. So the next things to happen are, obviously, we get this aft cockpit bulkhead out. I've got 2 more bulkheads to do in the rear, in the empennage area. Once those are done, then we're going to go ahead and separate the upper half again from the bottom, so that we can continue our work on the center spar plug and mold.
Right, and once we have that, then we can get kind of final dimensions for how the landing gear geometry is going to work. Also, another thing we're going to do is with the cockpit, once we get we're going to get a shape that's exactly what we need for the instrument panel. That'll be installed, and it's going to be shorter than a regular war one because we're using electronic EFIS systems, and that's going to give us even more room. So we're trying to get as much room as we can get, lightweight, and I think it's going to be a really cool project once we get a little bit further down the road. All right, well, hope you enjoyed the video. If you have questions, look up ButcherBird58% on the website. Watch for videos, or go to ODG Composites with Russ, and his business card will be at the end of the video, and you can call him with your questions, or if you have composite needs.
You can check out my Facebook pages.
Yeah.
Under Rusty Manis or Advanced Composite Infusion. ACI, Advanced Composite Infusion, has the most detail on what we do.
Okay. Yeah.
And if you happen to do TikTok, look for Buck Snort Sports and Outdoors.
There you go. All right, well, hope you enjoyed it. We'll get back in another month or so with another video.